Arteta knows everything, and yet he knows nothing. Football fans, welcome to the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast of February 22nd, 2021, fresh after Arsenal's 1-0 loss to Manchester City. I am your host, Shotta, together with my usual partner, Blackburn George, the Ars Blogger. Stay tuned for more. Blackburn George, welcome to the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. Post the game against Manchester City. And George, 1-0 a defeat, and I have never seen such a huge disappointment in the fan base, despite Arteta's mentor, Pep Guardiola, saying Arteta knows everything. I'm sure you are here today to tell us that to agree with Pep. Tell me, George.
Well, strangely enough, I do.
Yes.
In a way, not in the way Pep Guardiola meant it, but he's not the first person to say that. Arsene Wenger once said of Mikel Arteta, he knows everything that's happening on the pitch as it's happening, and he knows what to do to fix it.
Yes.
Pep Guardiola was saying yesterday that Arteta knows everything about the game and that he made adjustments that stopped them being as effective after the first 15 or 20 minutes. And I believe that's true as well. I believe he does know a lot about the game. I believe he knows an awful lot about stopping teams playing against him. What I don't believe is that he knows a lot about how to set the team up to play to win. So I think you have to accept that he's a very clever guy, that he can take an individual player, he can teach him how to improve his technique, and these things are given, really. I mean, he's super respected at Manchester City for what he did for the players. So I believe he does understand the game completely, but that doesn't mean that he can set his team up to win. I've thought about it. I was thinking about it earlier on today. I've known decorators who can decorate the shit out of your house. Mm-hmm. They can put wallpaper up, they can paint it, they can do everything, and it's a beautiful job. But you would never ask them to design the room. You'd never ask them what to do. They just ask them to do it.
Exactly.
And there's a big difference between knowing how a player plays and getting that player to play in a team and play well for the team to play well. So you can't dismiss Arteta completely, and I don't want it to become an Arteta hate fest. Mm-hmm. You can't dismiss what he's good at because of his weaknesses. But the weaknesses are in management of players and management of the team. His weaknesses isn't in coaching. I don't think it is. His weakness is his vision of how the team should play. And he probably has a real belief that he's right. All good managers, all top managers, have a real belief that their system, their ideas are right. But that doesn't mean that they'll all work. And the fact that most managers fail proves that time and time again, that they all have a vision of how it should be played. But if they're unable either to get the players to play to that vision or set the team up to action that vision, then they're failing as a manager. And I think he's failing terribly as a manager, not as a coach, as a team manager. And I think he always will. And I believe that it's his ego that will stop him learning what's necessary to improve, because we're not getting any better. We're not improving. We're getting incrementally worse. And however much you want to blame the players are only doing what he's asking them to do. Even yesterday, we saw that he was asked why he was so vocal on the sideline, and he was saying that he needs every player to do the right thing at the right time. In other words, he needs every player to do what he wants at that time, in the way he wants it. And it's clearly not working. It's clearly not working. We've lost 11 games. It can't be working. You can't blame the players. You look at the players that we have in our squad. You're not telling me that our squad is worse than West Ham or Leicester or Tottenham. They're not. So the only thing is they're not being used properly. And he's not using them properly. He's in charge of the team. He's in charge more of the team now than he was 12 months ago. They gave him extra powers, and it's getting worse.
George,
I mean,
to interrupt you,
yeah.
Tell us. I saw you tweet that yesterday, but you know that there are skeptics. In fact, most of them would not even listen to this program. Just the very fact that it's me and you talking about football. You know that. I'm sure you're aware of that. But for those who do, can you tell us what was the specific failures in yesterday's game? Granted, George, I'm going to give Arteta credit. We kept it at 1-0 for 90 minutes. But, George, we had absolute... No, I shouldn't say absolute. Let me retract that word. That's an extreme word. We had one shot on target. Therefore, we had 3 shots on goal. That means we had very little chance of scoring. That is not me making that up and making an extreme statement in my question to you. That exposes something that was negative about how we played. Can you break that down a little bit more for me?
Well, first of all, what I noticed was El Neni and Zeka were dropping very deep.
Oh, Jesus. They were on top of the defenders.
Yeah, and we're passing it round the back. Well, you're never going to score passing it round the back. The idea of playing out is playing out.
Yes.
Getting out, not playing around. We don't play out from the back. We play around the back. There's a very, very big difference.
Very good point, George. Very good point. I saw, that was a lot of what was happening earlier in the season. We used to play it around and, then to get it down the flanks. And go ahead, George. Keep going. Yes, very, very good observation.
So there's that. And then there's Pepe and Saka were on the wrong sides for me.
Okay.
And are only...
Go into that a little bit. Go into that a little bit, George. Say that, explain that a little bit more. And how did that affect the game? Go ahead.
Well, Saka's far more effective on the right, as we've seen. And what we've seen of Pepe, he's more effective on the left. Mm-hmm. And our only attacking outlet was Tierney.
Yes.
Aimlessly throwing the ball into the middle. And I say aimlessly because, none of them led to attempts on goal or shots on target.
Yes.
So that was, and then you have Aubameyang.
He was completely out of it.
Jesus Christ Almighty! Aubameyang is a world-class goal scorer, and I think I can't remember now. I think did he have about 15 touches yesterday? No shots on target.
Yes.
And he was playing central in most of the game.
Yes.
And then Blackburn came on and he moved him out. And he's basically non-existent. I mean, his ball, his distribution, his holding up of the ball, his passing is shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking. So you've got a world-class goal scorer. You have to utilise him to his best effect. And you look at what Leicester do with Jamie Vardy. Yes. Jamie Vardy will go 15 touches in a game, like Aubameyang, would be a lot for Jamie Vardy.
Yes.
It would.
Yes.
Because he's not interested in getting touches and getting involved and build up. He's interested in hanging about with his pace, on the shoulder, and utilising the space, making runs. That's exactly what Aubameyang should be doing if you're playing him in the centre.
Yes.
Exactly. But do we do that? No. We see that silly fucker running around the middle of the field trying to get involved in build-up play. And inevitably, he just gives the ball away.
Right.
It's shocking, the misuse of a world-class goal scorer. He's not a world-class player. He'll never be a world-class player. Mm-hmm. He's a world-class goal scorer. Mm-hmm. And to use him properly, you have to give him the opportunity to run into space, because that's his biggest asset, running into space and keeping calm when he gets that advantage.
Right.
Keeping his head and scoring. And he's brilliant at it. He's absolutely devastating. Give him a yard, a run on goal, and he'll beat the keeper 9 times out of 10. Right. But you have to give him the opportunity to do that. You have to feed him. Who have we got feeding him?
Odegaard.
Fucking Tierney.
Tierney, yes.
How's he going to run with the ball when it's getting lumped into the middle from wide?
Right.
He's not. He's not got it at his feet. You're asking him to what? Hit half of volleys all the time, or head the ball in.
Yeah.
That's not his thing.
Yeah.
So we're using him incorrectly. We had both of the wingers on the wrong side. We had the midfield sitting far too fucking deep. And what did we get right? Well, we kept it down to 1. Fucking brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. We kept it down to 1. What good is that when you get fuck all out the game? People will tell you that we're doing so well defensively. We've lost 11 games. How the fuck are we doing well defensively? How can you lose 11 games and be doing well defensively? You can't be, Shotta.
George.
You can't.
George.
It's fucking rubbish.
But George, you must be an outlier. I mean, our good friend Adrian Clark wrote a preview for PremierLeague.com. You know, and I'm Adrian, if you're listening, I'm not bashing you, but you wrote a piece for, in previewing this game, telling us that our defending was going to be our greatest asset, and that Ceballos was the key to that midfield defending. Well, first of all, George, he didn't even select Ceballos. He didn't even come on, if my recollection is clear.
No, he did. He came on for the last 5 minutes.
5 minutes or so? That's what I was trying to remember. That's why I have you, George. And but he was not the key. And when he did come on, he did all the substitutes did fuck all as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I watched them, and there was some urgency in the last 15 to 20 minutes, but it was futility. If you know what I mean. In fact, I'm getting away from things here, George. The point I'm making is that we are defending better in the eyes of, according. So how come you? My question to you is, why are you so different from Adrian? Why are you so different from Jeff Arsenal? Both, who's a good friend of both of us in terms of Twitter. Why are we different? What are we seeing? Are we just extremists, anti-Arteta? You tell me.
Well, no, because they're looking at it in terms of goals conceded. We're lowering the goals conceded. Therefore, we're defending better. Well, that's not the case. Not to my eyes. All that means is we're setting up more defensively. We're not actually defending better. Now, that might sound a contradiction.
Yes.
But the easiest thing in the world to do for any manager is pull everybody back. And like we said yesterday, get Xhaka and El Nene sitting in front of the back four. That isn't defending well. That's setting up defensively. There's a fucking difference. That's the difference. And it's a fact we're conceding less goals. But the cost of conceding less goals is astronomical. We can't score at all. It's fucking shite. And you can't have a team that doesn't score many goals and doesn't concede many goals and wins enough games. We've lost 11 games.
And
so
Yes.
The key